All right, everyone, we are live. Beverly, I'll go ahead and make you host again.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Testing.
We can hear you, Commissioner Jones.
Thank you.
Okay, Chairman Cody, we are all set.
All right, thank you, Beverly.
Thank you.
All right, first I would like to send greetings to our board members and the citizens who were able to join this meeting today on December the 15th. We will now go call this meeting to order. Beverly, I got the time at 10:03.
Okay.
Beverly, can you start the roll call, please?
Morning.
Yes, sir.
Morning.
Good morning, everyone. Chairman Cody,
Present.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning. Mike.
Director Jones,
I'm here, present.
Director O'Halloran, he is present. Director Emerson, present. Director Leggett,
Present.
Director Lakakis,
Yeah.
thank you. Director Robinson, I do have Director
Good morning.
Robinson. I believe she is present. Director Stone,
Present.
Director Odell,
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mike.
Director Odell. And we may have lost Director Robinson. I believe we've lost Director Robinson and Director Odell.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Dr. Holland.
Thank you all, our commissioners who supplied our coastal health district with the proper freezer for this COVID vaccine. We're one of two, I understand, in the entire state. One's here and one's at Grady Hospital in Atlanta. Now, if we could get the other 100,000 doses we need, we'd be in great shape. Except I don't think that freezer will hold that many from my days in the lab.
That's a bill.
Okay,
I see Dr. Robinson.
and so we do have Dr. Robinson and Director Odell on. Have joined the meeting. Thank you. You have a
Thank
quorum, Chairman.
All right, on the adoption of the regular meeting agenda for December the 15th, 2020. Before we move into adopting today's agenda, I would like to ask for a motion, second, and a vote on majority to amend the agenda and to add the executive session for the day's matters on personnel, litigation, real estate, and our text to the agenda before adopting today's agenda. And the order of business, we will place it after the executive director's report.
So moved.
Second.
Take a call for the vote.
Yes,
Right.
sir. Okay.
Prior to call for a vote, which one of the items is this going to be for the executive session?
We're going to,
Litigation, what is it?
it may be all of the above.
Okay.
Okay, Chairman, I'll go ahead and do a roll call vote.
Yes.
Director Jones,
That's fine. Yes.
Director Odell,
Yes.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Lakakis. Director Lakakis. Okay, Director Leggett,
Yes.
Director Emister,
Yes. Thank you.
Director O'Halloran,
Yes.
Director Cody, Chairman Cody, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Unanimous for the amendment of the agenda and adding the executive session.
Gotcha. All right, so we can go into presentations. Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. Moving right along, we will now enter into receiving a presentation on the safety plan from staff. I would like to give the floor to Ms. Malden and her team for the introduction to this item.
Good morning, everyone. As you know, we have on our consent agenda, of course, the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. We have Mr. Charles Hall, the Chief Safety Officer, who will do a brief presentation to kind of give an overview of what that plan is about and why it is important and why it's on our agenda today. So without further ado, Mr. Hall.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Trying to get it set up.
Can you mute everybody?
Okay. Again, good morning. The public transit safety plan, as you've probably already grown aware of, is a mandated document and plan that the FTA oversaw its established or back in July of 2018. The plan itself is an overview. Well, this is an overview that provides a general purpose of the plan and provides the authority and commissioning of the plan in accordance with the FTA's expectations. One important note of this overview is that the FTA requires a dedicated chief safety officer for the transit agency. The plan covers all modalities of transportation exclusive of ferry boats, since they are governed by the Coast Guard. So that does include fixed routes, paratransit, and rail service if we had it. The original due date of the plan was July 31st, 2020. However, COVID pushed it back to December 31st of 2020. And as a continued response to COVID, the FTA has released a new enforcement date of July 31st of 2021. However, we're going to continue to operate with the same level of urgency as if it was still due December 31st of 2020. We expect the plan to be reviewed during our next triennial. The components of the plan itself are outlined and governed by FTA's recommendations. So all of the components that you see in this plan are what the FTA has recommended. Each area of the plan provides a list of standards that the agency must be compliant with. Once CAT's Safety and Security Department is staffed, members will be tasked with ensuring that each component of the plan is executed and proof of compliance is provided and cataloged. We're developing, to the next slide. We're developing continuous improvements in the areas of safety and security. We're enhancing access control, for example, at all CAT facilities. We're also revamping all of our camera systems. We're forming partnerships with law enforcement entities. Some of those will include crime prevention initiatives or some other initiatives such as human trafficking. And we're also in the process of updating our emergency and hurricane plan. So as you see, the plan does mandate that we're engaging in these activities, and that we are. And as you can see, the PTASP has to comply with all of these regulatory agencies. However, the overarching governing agency will be the Federal Transit Administration. These are the strategic safety and security goals as outlined in PTASP. Accomplishing these goals will require a systemic approach from all departments contributing to CAT's culture of safety and security. And although I am serving as the Chief Safety Officer for CAT, this plan requires that members of each division within CAT not only contributes to the safety plan, but they are also mandated to be in compliance within their respective divisions as well. So it's a very comprehensive and organic document. Safety performance targets. These are some things that we look at in terms of seeing what it is that we're doing and how we measure those things that we're doing in terms of safety and security. And things that are the components that the National Public Transportation Safety Plan looks at are fatalities, injuries, safety events, and safety systems reliabilities. The most important part of the plan, once it has been completed and adopted, is the actual execution of the plan. And in doing so, we'll have to identify gaps. You know, what are we doing, what we should be doing, or maybe not be doing, or not be doing as well. Ensure that all forms of the processes are compliant with the plan. And although, again, I am the accountable executive of the plan, it does require all members of the agency to contribute to the overall plan. And we're looking at doing that by forming a comprehensive safety committee. We're also looking at establishing timetables, because that will keep the time-sensitive documentation and activities in line with what the plan should determine there to be. So we're going to be looking at those timetables moving forward to make sure we're compliant with those time-sensitive activities. We'll be creating a safety and security document management program, and what that'll do is help us keep tab on what we're doing and have a codified system of recording and managing all the documents that will be a part of this safety management system. And we'll also provide updates as needed to the plan. More importantly, we will be conducting annual review in December of the plan to make sure that it is compliant moving into the following year. Are there any questions about the plan itself?
We have any questions from any board members?
Yeah, I've got a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, that right there.
The page 20 of the document that we've got goes over key performance indicators, or KPIs. Will these be included in, I don't know, I don't want to hold you maybe to monthly reports, but will these be included in reports that the board will get so we can track how the plan is going?
Yes, that's exactly what we're going to be doing, establishing timetables that will go back into the plan and look at each one of those components that you're speaking of, and we'll create a timetable for each one of those. So some of them will be conducted daily, monthly, weekly, quarterly, and whichever one that seems to be most efficient and effective for tracking the data that we're needing to provide to not only the FTA, but to the board as well.
Cool. I think that'll be very helpful with being able to see how the plan is working.
Right. Agreed.
Thanks.
All right.
Another question.
Good.
Do you take over the emergency when a hurricane comes to town for a little visit? Who is that now under you?
Yes, that would be under me.
Okay, so it all is sort of, I can't remember who was doing that before, but it's now kind of all funneled towards your position in your agency.
Absolutely.
Or whatever. Okay, cool. Thank you.
You have any more questions?
I actually have a quick question. I know Clint mentioned the KPIs. Are we using the same ones that we've been using in the board reports with the 18 passenger and basing it on that, or are we going to update that?
We'll look at updating all of them, maybe adding some additional ones as well, since we have the plan completed now. So we may be adding some additional KPIs.
Yeah, that's the easiest way for us to look at it, because that isn't something we get. Under section 1-4, I'm going to get very specific because I read it over. It's very detailed. I was an OSHA officer for years, so I understand how complex these things are. It mentioned other entities. Do we need to include the city of Savannah, Chatham County, and SSU to that part of it that we provide service for outside of the actual agency?
Right, and I think that's why I use that verbiage. So when we do add additional entities, for example, the city of Pooler, Garden City, SSU, that'll also make allowances for those to be included as well.
Okay, and I know it's a draft. Are we going to have to vote on this today, or even though it's the implementation date moved?
Yes, we still want to move forward with getting it adopted so we could.
Okay, because it has to go to the FTA and they have to approve it and send it back to us. The other question I had in section 3.1 was, what is the succession? Obviously, you're the chief safety officer. Who is next after you?
We were in the process of identifying those persons. Until
Okay.
that happens, we'll probably share that responsibility with the chief operating officer.
Yeah, I'm assuming that you can't be the only one responsible.
Correct.
You can't live there no matter what happens. That's all I had. It was very detailed, well presented, well done.
Thank
So
you.
thank you for that. I know it's a nightmare and it's probably going to change every 6 months, but having a good basic plan is a good start.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
All right.
You have any more questions? All right. I want to thank you, Mr. Hall, for that presentation.
You're
It's a
most
great
welcome.
presentation. Thank you.
Thanks. All right.
All right. Moving on to the consent agenda items.
Do we need a motion?
Yes.
Not at this,
Is
Not
it
at
tied,
this time.
it's tied to consent agenda?
it is on the consent agenda, but that was just a presentation at that point. But that is one of the items that's on the consent.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion. We approve the consent agenda.
I'll
Second,
second the motion.
Okay, and Chairman, I'll do a roll call vote
Thank you, Governor.
for the approval of the consent agenda.
Yes.
Director Jones,
Yes.
Director Odell,
Yes.
Director Stone,
yes.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Lakakis,
Yes.
Director Leggett,
Yes.
Director Emerson,
Yes.
Director O'Halloran,
Yes.
Chairman Cody.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Motion passed.
All right. Moving on to consent agenda items. One, we have regular board meeting minutes from 11/17/2020. We have number 2, special called and work session meetings, 12/01/2020. 3, we have public transportation agency safety plan. 4, we're gonna have the fiscal year 2020 audited financials transmittal. And 5, we're gonna have the fiscal year 2021 second half governance calendar.
Chair,
Yes.
question. Beverly, didn't we just vote on this?
We just completed the consent agenda items. Yes, sir.
Okay,
I think the chairman is just repeating it for the record.
Okay, I got it. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so we're gonna move on to action items. Only, all right, we're gonna only entertain this section if one of the items were pulled from the agenda. So now we're gonna move on to the executive director's report. And on the executive director's report, Ms. Malden, do you have anything you want to present to the board?
Yes, sir. Good, excuse me. Good morning, Mr. Chair. If you give me just a moment to share my screen.
Yes, ma'am. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing much better, much better these days. Thank you to everyone that reached out to check on me and make sure I was going to make it. Give me just a second. All right. All right. So good morning again, everyone. Thank you so much, Chairman Cody. And since I did not attend last month's meeting, I'm including highlights from both November and December in this report. If I may take a moment of personal privilege, let me thank everyone that reached out to me concerning my husband and his illness. It's really, really appreciated, all the prayers and all the concerns that everyone shared with me. So without further ado, I will move forward in the presentation. So of course, CAT is continuing to SCORE. SCORE has been an acronym for the call of action that our agency has operated under since my start almost 6 months ago. We continue to SCORE every day in every way in everything that we do.
I don't think we can hear it.
You can't hear?
No. But it looks good.
Okay. I'm not sure why you can't hear it, but so either way, I'm continuing to go through SCORE and what that means. And hopefully maybe by next month, we'll be able to get the audio portion of the video fixed. But that is just a little sample of some of the handiwork of our video team. Nonetheless, I will move into the rest of my report. So under the S, which is stabilize and strengthen agency finances, today is Save Public Transit Day. And so today is the day that we partner with APTA, along with agencies all across the country, of a day of mobilization and engagement. We're urging Congress to act before it recesses for the holiday season, because our industry is facing a dire financial crisis and emergency funding has never been more urgent. We're calling on Congress and the administration to provide at least $32 billion in emergency funding to ensure that public transit agencies can survive and thrive as they help our communities and nations transport essential workers to their jobs and recover from the economic fallout of the pandemic. In terms of the FTA emergency relief funding, on Friday, we received notice that the FTA has extended the time frame for emergency relief funding for operations during the COVID-19 pandemic. We have pulled a team together internally to work on a proposal for the additional funding, and will update the board on the amount of additional funding that we could be eligible for. Now, I will say I received a note from Jack Kingston late last night that there is a proposal in Congress that includes about $15 billion for public transit, which of course is it's less than half of what we asked for as an industry, but it's absolutely better than nothing. And so we are very happy to know that this particular bill has momentum and that there is a good chance that it could be passed. Of course, the $15 billion for public transit is a part of a multifaceted bill, but it does have momentum, and it may possibly pass before they recess for the holidays. So the outcomes related to those first two items, along with the receipts of our special district tax for the month of December, which is historically our highest collection month, will give us a clearer picture of where we are financially, and will let us know if we're on track to meet our current budget or whether it will be in fact necessary to amend our current budget. As you know, December is our highest collection month. That will really tell the story. And again, finding out what our fair share of that $15 billion will be as well. I feel very good about our chances of getting additional funding from FTA. But in the meantime, please know that we're doing everything we can to monitor and track our expenses as well. And so we will move forward after the first of the year with preparation for our budget workshops, which will commence in March of this year as we prepare our FY 21-22 budget. In terms of caring for our employees, customers, and community, Of course, we know COVID-19 hits home every day. It hits homes all across the nation. It has hit home at CAT. Of course, again, thanks to everyone that has been checking on me, making sure that I've had soup and water and juice and everything during my time at home, as well as caring for other family and loved ones. Because there is a bit of a surge within the community, there are currently 2 known employees that have tested positive for COVID-19 at this time. We're increasing our awareness campaign to strongly encourage bus and facility patrons to wear a mask or face covering. While we're still not asking operators to enforce the mask ordinance, we are putting more information out to ensure that our customers know that the ordinance is something that we support. And we have suspended in-person meetings at CAT of more than 2 people until January 15th, and then we'll reevaluate and see where we are as a community at that point. Of course, we have a missing link in the CAT family chain. We lost a bus operator this week, Melissa Edwards. She is a person that many of our employees were very, very fond of. She was an employee for several years. I understand that she was a wonderful cook. I understand that she was a very, very thoughtful person and someone that many of the operators used to go and talk to and rely on kind of as a shoulder to lean on. We have, and I'm going to pull the information, we have gotten information about her funeral arrangements. There'll be the celebration of life will be on Saturday, December 19th at 1 p.m. at the New Covenant Deliverance Cathedral at 2404 Northwest 20th Street in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And so I hope that you will join us in extending our most heartfelt condolences to her family, as well as to her ATU family, and as well as her entire CAT family. When one hurts, we all hurt, and she is definitely a part of the CAT family that we will miss. Under O, optimizing our operations. We want to give you all a brief update on where we are in terms of our Sunday service suspension. We held a kickoff meeting with representatives of the Tourism Leadership Council, Chamber of Commerce, and the Restaurant Association on Friday, November 20th. Based on the discussion at the meeting, we were in need of more specific information from the users of the Sunday service. Now, I always say that a 40-foot bus on a fixed route may not be the answer to everyone's mobility needs. And that's true in this case as well. And so we're looking for options to possibly augment our service in a way that will allow us to more efficiently manage service on Sunday, since that is our lowest ridership day, but balance that with being able to provide and service the needs and provide service for those that really need it to live, work, and play in Chatham County. And so we have agreed to put together a survey that will be sent out to the membership in all of those organizations that we just talked about. And that survey is going to ask questions about what their needs are, really get down to the specifics of when they need service, what are the areas that service is needed, to give us a better idea if we were going to present a modification of service of what that would look like and how we could best serve the needs of the community. Under R, in terms of reimagining transit in Chatham County, I had the opportunity to meet with the chairman-elect, Chester Ellis, and we had a very good meeting. As you know, he is a former CAT board member, and he believes that transit should be throughout Chatham County and makes no bones about it. And so having an advocate in that role, we're very excited about working with him and seeing what the future can hold under his leadership. In terms of the city of Savannah, we met with city officials to discuss transit services throughout the months of November and December. Currently, the DOT is not in service with no tentative date to start back up. However, we are planning to meet with the health department to advocate for the DOT service to be moved up. And just to explain a little bit more about what I'm talking about, there are certain levels or certain pillars, thresholds that we have to meet in terms of COVID cases before certain things happen. And so DOT, I think, is at tier 3 right now. And we're advocating for it to be moved up a tier so that we can be a little bit closer to rolling the dot back out on the street. The business community, the tourism community have all been consistent in asking for the dot to come back. And of course, we would love nothing more than for it to be back in operation again. In addition, we've also been asked to consider taking over the downtowner service after the expiration of the contract. Our system development team has researched and come up with a plan to possibly operate this service. And if the city likes those options, we will make a full presentation to the board next month about what we are proposing to do to fill that void of the downtowner. In terms of Garden City, our team is moving forward in concert with the Garden City team to conduct planning activities and come up with service options for the council to consider some point after the new year. Under engaging our board, our employees, and our stakeholders. Of course, as you all know, we attended the Savannah Area Chamber Eggs and Issues. It was a really good event, and it shined a great light on Chatham Area Transit. Our board chair attended that breakfast with us that morning, and it was also great to see Alderman Leggett as well as Commissioner Stone in the audience as well. For the first time, the chamber included 2 of our legislative items, and it was really a great showing. We got great media coverage and everything, and I'm not going to go back over those because we did, I think, cover those in more detail in the committee meeting. But the very next day, I actually had the opportunity to present for the Chatham County Legislative Delegation along with Mike Backer, and we presented that same agenda to the legislative delegation, and we really had a warm reception with that. And so we're going to continue to hunker down and continue to talk about it with our legislative delegation. I think, one of the good things over the last few months, more and more people are realizing how necessary transit is in this community, and more people are getting on board with that. And I think everyone recognizes in order to expand service, we have to have money to do it. And so I think more people appear to be willing to lock arms with us and figure out how to get it done. Of course, we had the board retreat for the Georgia Transit Association as well. We are a member, of course, of the Georgia Transit Association, and I was actually elected vice president of the association. And this plays well with what we're trying to do legislatively, because the one priority, which is the transportation SPLOST, is actually something that we are advocating for the rest of the counties outside of the Atlanta area. And if we're able to be successful with that, that's something that we'll need the support of our sister transit agencies across the state. So playing an active role in the association goes a long way towards helping us get the support that we need across the state. I also had the opportunity to do the invocation at a Rotary meeting this month and received good feedback on that as well. So now we've come to the part of the presentation where we have to say farewell to 2 retiring board members. First, Commissioner Tabitha Odell, who is retiring from the board after our meeting today. She is a passionate advocate. We appreciate her service, and I don't know if y'all can see this, but we do have, Commissioner Odell, a memento for you to commemorate your passionate service with the board. We thank you. I was gonna say, you see it?
That's so pretty. Thank you.
We will have this hand delivered to you today if you like. So I'm afraid to put it in the mail.
Yeah, I'd be afraid to put it in the mail too.
So we're gonna hand deliver that to you, but just want to let you know that we appreciate your service. We appreciate your passion and everything that you have done for the benefit of the citizens of Chatham County and for the customers that use Chatham Area Transit. We're also honoring retiring member, Commissioner James J. Jones. And we have one for him as well. I don't know if you can see it, Commissioner Jones. But we also want to honor and recognize you as our board vice chairman, and we appreciate your passionate and faithful service as well. Your passionate representation of the citizens of Chatham County and for all who utilize Chatham Area Transit. And so again, we will have these mementos hand delivered to our retiring board members. And so of course, again, on behalf of the 288 employees of Chatham Area Transit, Commissioner Odell and Commissioner Jones, we do thank both of you all for your service. And
I
with that,
appreciate it. Thank
go
you.
ahead.
I say I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so at this point, I'm going to go into some of the internal reports. I'm going to call up David Stearns, our Chief Administrative Officer, to go, and then we'll go in the order that's printed on the agenda, and then I'll come back with a final word after the financial update. Mr. Stearns.
Is David on? I didn't see him in the list. But we are viewing his screen.
Okay, Mr. Stearns, are you there?
I am, sorry.
All
Can you
right.
all hear me?
We can hear you now.
All right, sorry about that. So administrative services, we'll start with compliance department. I'm kind of excited about this. We have a platform called DocTracks that we'll be implementing. This is a policy kind of management platform, but also has the ability to require receipt acknowledgement, so we can send out policies to employees and have them acknowledge that they received it. We can audit trail any changes to policies. So it has some front end stuff that's exciting. It'll be a platform available to all employees. So they'll have a central place that they can go and get any sort of policies or documents from CAT. So it's kind of exciting that it's basically kind of almost like an intranet for all CAT employees. On the back end, it'll help us keep track of any changes to policies. You can audit trail it, and it's got some pretty cool stuff. So we're excited about the implementation of this system.
Wait,
so that should
David.
be happening fairly soon. Yes.
That sounds very interesting. So you're telling me that will we be putting all of our policies that we've got into DocTrack?
Yes. Yeah. And that's the idea.
And then as we sort of change them, or they're altered, or they're, for whatever reason, they're changed, we'll be able to look at the historical changes that have been made to them.
Yes. Yep. And
Well,
the cool
cool
thing is we have enough licenses that we'll be able to include the board members on this. Now, you know, how things are supposed to work in theory, we'll make sure it works, you know, we'll see how it works in practice, but in theory, yeah, we'll be able to include the board members on this. You'll be able to see an audit trail of, okay, we started with this document, these changes were made, this is the current version. So it's very exciting, a great way to not only as a repository for policies, but also in a compliance and audit function to see, okay, what was this policy back in 2014? What is the most current version? And that type of thing. So it looks very exciting.
Yeah.
We did quite a bit of research into it, and we think this program will really be something pretty great for us to implement. And it was.
I don't know if this is a high. I don't know if this is a high or low in my life, but I'm now excited about a cloud-based policy management software. So,
into my world, I'm pretty excited about this myself. I guess
cool.
we're in a club. So that's the kind of exciting news for compliance.
I have a question.
Yes.
The platform itself and the accessibility to board members,
Mm-hmm.
will it be code? We have a special code to get in, or do we have to click a whole lot of buttons, or?
Well, so the way it works and we are scheduled to kind of meet with the company with the implementation of it, I think the 17th. The way it looks like it works, we each have a login. And so you could have a login. And I think we can even include some things like, for instance, if operators have a login, they could have access to, say, the work rules that maybe an administrative employee wouldn't necessarily need, or training manuals or something like that. So the way it looks is we'll each have a login, and you can customize each person to be different levels. For instance, administrator that can make changes, or just a viewer that can only view policies and stuff like that. So it does look like we'll each have a login. So each user, including the board, would have a login. And then you can have user-defined roles based on that login. Did that answer your question?
Yes, very good.
Okay. So HR department, we just completed a fairly extensive assessment, HRIS assessment with Tyler Technologies, who is the developer of our software Munis. You may have heard that term before. This assessment took several days, number of hours each day, was very extensive. And the good news of the assessment was that we were able to determine that Munis is actually a very powerful program and has quite a bit of capabilities. What we are encountering is that we at CAT have really never been trained on Munis. So it basically showed us in the assessment that Munis has the capabilities that we would want, but we weren't able to use it because we've never actually been trained. In some instances, modules were bought like back in 2014, but then there was never any training. So it's been kind of an underutilized system. So the good news is that the system is actually seems to be pretty good, and with some proper training, which we're looking to begin soon, we're excited at the possibilities of it, including things like FMLA tracking, which right now is done manually. And anyone in the arena of HR that understands FMLA tracking, that is just a large and difficult thing to kind of keep track of. Munis has the capabilities to do that within the system, and it's tied to our payroll and everything. So it's exciting. We're looking to get training underway fairly quickly here, working with Munis to set up a schedule to get some specialized HRIS training. So that's kind of where we're at with HR. Again, as systems is actually kind of exciting to me. So
David,
yes.
Chairman, may I address the question?
Yes.
All right, David. So you're telling me that Munis has always had the tracking ability to track FMLA.
Yes. We just basically it was bought, but no training was ever implemented on it. So
and the reason why I'm saying this is it was previous conversations in reference to a CEO, and I questioned in reference to how we were tracking FMLA, and I was told there was no tracking ability to be able to track that. So that's the reason why I'm making sure I say this at this time when you said what you said when it talked about Munis. So Munis does have the ability to track FMLA.
Yes. Now, we haven't gone through the training, so I don't know it, when you take an assessment and it sounds like it's the best thing in the world, we'll find that out. But yeah, they have a whole HR module that includes something to do with FMLA tracking and that type of thing.
I understand, David, that you have to go through training. I'm good with that. I just wanted to make sure it was clear that Munis had the ability. I knew we had software to track it, and we were tracking it manually, FMLA, as an organization. So thank you, David, for answering my question.
So that's pretty exciting. It has a lot of features. Munis actually is, from what I've been able to tell, a very powerful system. In fact, the county uses Munis, I've come to learn. So it's a very powerful system, but it's so powerful if you don't know how to use it, if you're not trained on how to use it, it's overwhelming. You can't just kind of come in off the street and play around in there and figure it out. It's just not a system like that. It's rather complicated, but for an agency that's growing and developing, you know, it's good that it's complicated in that it can grow with us. We just need to make sure we stay up on training and make that a real priority, because the system is, in all appearances are, it's a very powerful system. So that's exciting for HR. Risk management. Currently, with the departure of Erica, risk management is being handled by our compliance manager, Hilda Mercedes, and she's done a great job of getting in there and really started to look at the program. And one thing that she did that I just wanted to mention to the board is she looked at claims, both workers' comp claims and accident claims. And what we were able to spot by doing this analysis of the data was that basically most claims happen with people that have been working at CAT less than 3 years. And the takeaway, and what's good about this with risk management and looking at data like this, the takeaway is we really need to make sure we get solid training right when employees come in, and then each year or semi-annually, keep redoing training, because what we have found is that, and this is not unusual to CAT, it's actually tracks with kind of national data, that the first 3 years are kind of a critical time frame, and that will help us kind of work with safety and training to implement a program that really focuses in areas where it needs to be. So that was just something that we were kind of looking at with risk management and kind of the analytics of the data that we're able to take at this point. So that's it for an update for administrative services. I'll, of course, if anyone have any questions or anything, I'll be glad to answer any questions. If not, I guess I'll give it back to Bakar.
All right, and next we will have Mr. Lenny Cooksey, who will give our service delivery update.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair, board members, Ms. Malden and colleagues, as we get this set up. Got a variety of things to talk about today. We'll go ahead and start with our next slide. In reference to our performance this particular month, we did see a slight increase. There's been a renewed interest, or a renewed focus rather, on our performance. And during this time, it's challenging. However, we did get a 1.1% increase. Looking at this number, I mean, it is the highest since during the COVID era. So 70% is our goal. So we are kind of grinding towards that. I mean, we're about eight points down. So we'll continue to focus on that and do some different things to work towards meeting that goal. Next slide. As far as our ridership, big dip across all service modes. You really see it here on the fixed route. I mean, there are a variety of factors. I mean, this is our, end of the year holiday season, with COVID, our first time kind of experiencing that. Hopefully the last. We had a lot of cold weather days. Also the surge started to increase in November as well. So all these factors did play a part, I believe, in our ridership, just, in all going down in all areas. Dr. O'Halloran, I know you had mentioned our passengers per revenue hour at 18, and looking at the numbers that we have, we should probably adjust that down to about 9. I think that's a realistic number, and we're at about 53% less overall. So if you kind of take that 18, basically cut that in half, kind of using some crude math, you're right about 9 in that area. So I did want to let you know that that looks like roughly where we need to be on that adjustment of that goal. Next slide. I do know, well, last go around, there was a lot of conversation about the December ridership. So I kind of wanted to give you a kind of historical ridership in December. I worked with Brendan to come up with these numbers. And that gives you 2017, 18, and 19 of what, kind of the December ridership. So, I mean, if you're looking at what we did last year, 231, look at what we just came out of, well, again, we'll probably be about 50 to 55% below where we normally are for December. But I did want to just kind of give you a December historical perspective. Next slide. As far as our paratransit on-time performance, still pretty good number. We held on at 93%. So again, that's a very strong number. I think 6 times we've exceeded our goal of 90%. So I do feel we're headed in the right direction there. And they continue to perform well. So, and just think about it, the challenges on paratransit is you have a lot more close contact. You're wearing, obviously everyone's wearing their mask, but you have gloves. We've limited the number of people on the buses, so you have more trips added into the system. So I think, this is a good solid number, and we're continuing. We have a new director in place. So I continue to see this number increase. In fact, I'll share something with you shortly in the slideshow presentation on the different innovations that are happening in paratransit. Next slide. Something that I like to do and that we're going to start doing, and I wanted to share it with you, is really performance. It's really recognizing those operators that are going above and beyond, or that are really excelling. We have the technology in paratransit to pull out individual on-time performance measures. We're working on that on fixed route. We'll be able to have that hopefully by April or May. But I wanted to share with you, these are our top 5. I mean, these are excellent numbers. So I just wanted to share with you that, and we've also posted these as well. And we're going to start doing things where we recognize and do certificates and so forth. And also these individuals, not only did they perform well, they also had no customer service complaints and no accidents as well. So they had an excellent month. Needless to say, we had several over 90, but these with the cream of the crop at 95 or better.
Mr. Cookie,
yes.
This is very cool. I've never seen something like this. Congratulations to all these folks. And thank you for providing. That's cool to be able to see it like that.
Absolutely, no problem. There's more to come. So I wanted to kind of introduce you to some of the creative things and the technology that we do currently have, where we can do some fun stuff like this.
Is there a way possibly to maybe do this for our fixed ridership as well? I mean, I know it's not on-time performance necessarily, but to acknowledge the top people in the field.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I think if we're going to do it for paratransit, it would be wonderful if we could do it for the fixed route as well, and let our operators know that we acknowledge and appreciate their performance.
Absolutely, Director Stone. We have technology from a grant that we received for a software called Clever Device. Clever Device does give us the capability to do this. I've had some experience running a program on the fixed route side using Clever Device to recognize those top performers. So we actually will be able to do that actually for all modes of transportation. So I'm excited about that. And this is kind of a prelude to what's coming. So yes, that will be able to happen in the near future. Next slide.
Honey, I just have one other thing. I know it's December. We normally do our safety award presentations. COVID's going to kind of kill that. Is there a plan to do that recognition for the annual safety awards?
I believe there is, and I will talk to Mr. Hall in reference to that. That's something regardless of what's happening in our business, safety is critical. Safety's first. So we have to make every effort to make sure we are recognizing those individuals. I mean, we can be pretty creative, obviously with technology to do that. So we never want to not be able to do safety awards.
Yeah, when I was chairman, I was very proud to see how many of our drivers and employees received those awards. Says something about the agency in general.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I know my father used to wear his no accident pin like a badge of honor when he was working.
Yes,
And his company recognized the fact that he didn't hit anything, basically.
No, absolutely. When I used to drive, I had 5 consecutive pins for no accident. So it's very important, and I was very proud to wear those. So I understand that. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes. So if you see our paratransit ridership again, along with our fixed route, again, a variety of different things that are going on in the month of November, we did see a decline there as well. However, I don't feel that that's a long-term dip. I mean, we had a lot of success getting back to our pre-COVID numbers. So I think, once we kind of get past this next month or so, we'll see paratransit rise quicker than we will on fixed route. Next slide. Also, again, our ferry, another dip. Again, everything is pretty consistent across the board. So I just wanted to make sure I did show you that particular graph. Next slide. Something new that hasn't been presented before is our call center customer service incoming phone calls. And this is, Ms. Malden back in August, I know she spearheaded moving the call center offsite, virtual in the cloud. Probably one of the best decisions. I just me personally saying, because I did the same thing coming in, is moving the call center virtual in August. So what you see here is just kind of to give you an idea of where the numbers are. Now, we did see a dip in the calls, and of course, it's across the board. But I know you haven't seen this before, and I'll be able to drill down as we begin to kind of look at the different types of calls, where they're coming from, how long the calls are happening, how long it takes to resolve calls and those issues. But I wanted to at least give you an idea that we are tracking this. And this is the amount of calls that are coming into the system currently. Next slide. Something I'm very proud of for the team. It's very innovative. So for the first time ever, CAT mobility clients can now make online reservation requests. And why that is critical. I mean, you may have certain situations where people can't call during our open hours, or it's on the weekend, or maybe it's 11 o'clock at night. Well, it almost gives you the ability to feel that you're 24 hours, because now they can actually go online, make those requests, get that appointment scheduled, and then notified. So there are several people that made this happen. I put their names here because I think it's very important to know the people behind the scenes that are very creative and saying, hey, we have an issue, we have a problem, and here's how we're going to solve it. So again, I'm very excited about this. It's going to allow us to give better service to the clients. And at the end of the day, that's what we're here for, is to serve the customers across all modes of transportation. Next slide. And also, I know I mentioned last time on the bus infrastructure, we're on time. The timeline is being met. But I kind of wanted to show you a few pictures of what's happening here on the campus, or what happened previously. As you see, there's a lot of construction, or previously a lot of construction going on to get that electric bus infrastructure in place. So again, we're on schedule. The maintenance team, Director Boatwright, is doing an excellent job on this project and managing it. So kudos to him and the maintenance team. And that will complete my report. I'm open for any questions.
Very impressive little presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Cooksey, for that. Next, we will have, and one thing I do want to add, of course, with that November dip, of course, we have the holiday season that always impacts the dip in the ridership. And so I'm sure that that's one of the reasons why we continue to see a little bit of a dip. But it will be interesting to see how our ridership bounces back and what the December numbers end up, since, as you know, we have now reinstated fares, and to see what impact that has on our ridership as well. Next, I'm going to toss it to Bryn Dice for our Chief Strategy Officer for our system development update.
Thank you, Mrs. Malden, and good morning, Mr. Chairman and directors of the board. As a reminder, my team includes long-term and transit planning, route scheduling, innovation, and business development. And I just wanted to take a couple minutes to highlight 2 initiatives that my team is currently working on. The first one, Mrs. Malden touched on in her report, exploring microtransit. So she gave her quote better than I could. A 40-foot bus on a fixed route may not be the best solution to all mobility needs. And we've been thinking about that. So we've been looking at microtransit, we've been looking at van pool options, we've been looking at how else we can provide service to our community. And again, as Mrs. Malden discussed, we had the opportunity to sit down with the city of Savannah and discuss their current downtowner program and explore options for how CAT can really help with that program and help it to run more efficiently. Since that time, we've been exploring microtransit options for the core downtown business district. That includes from East Broad to MLK, from River Street to Park Ave. And we've had the opportunity to really look at a couple of options. So, you know, should it be an in-house service? That would be a whole new enterprise. Should it be a partnering with a third-party company to help us provide the service? And we've had several meetings with the city of Savannah. It's been a great communication experiment for us. I don't want to say experiment, tool for us. We've been working closely with them, and we again, as you can see on the slide, they're looking at an on-demand service. It's from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. 7 days a week, and would be fully automated, really aimed at their downtown employees during those nighttime hours, very similar to the program they have running now. We will continue to work with the city and give a full presentation to the board once we finalize a plan that can meet Savannah's needs. Hopefully that will happen next month. The next program that I wanted to highlight is the Veterans Half Fare Pilot Program. I have been wondering how that is moving along, and so I wanted to give you a status update on this project. As you remember, a 6-month pilot program was approved by the board and began on November 11th on Veterans Day of 2019. This was a 50% reduction in fares for veterans on all of our routes. And we were able to pull 3 months of ridership data before the start of COVID-19 and the subsequent suspension of fares. As you know, fares were reinstated this month, so we're excited to continue to monitor the program for the months of December, January, and February. That'll give us that 6 months of data to really analyze and bring back to the board with a full analysis at the March board meeting. That analysis will include a Title VI review, which is required by FTA. And so you'll see that in upcoming board meetings, hopefully in March. That's it for me.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Dykes. I'm very excited about the work of, oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Dr.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I know we're going to go through February. Might it be prudent to go a little further, seeing that we're getting the holiday dip? People are not making medical appointments, and our VA is, as you know, all the way down at the end of the 14. Maybe go another month or 2 to see a little better data trail. I'm personally, I don't care what the data says. I think it's the best thing, one of the best options we could have come up with is extending that to our veterans. But I don't know if another 3 months will give us enough good data, but maybe go to April when spring is here, more people are climbing on the bus and they're encouraged to get to their doctors again, because right now they're almost discouraging you from going by saying everything's so bad.
Well,
but I know it only requires 6 months, and I still think we should do it no matter what the data shows. So I'll leave it up to you guys to come up with your best plan for that.
We'll make a recommendation in January and definitely take that into consideration. So when system development comes back in January, we'll come back with a recommendation. But we are very excited about the work that they're doing in system development. You know, while everybody else's primary charge is on running the buses today, making sure we're doing things today, this is the one group that helps us plan for the future and comes up with innovative ideas for how we can run today. And so we're really excited about the work that they are doing in that division. So thank you, Ms. Dice. I'm gonna
Thank you.
now move into the safety update, and I'm going to toss it back to our Chief Safety Officer, Mr. Charles Hall.
Okay. Again, good morning. This will be a brief update, highlights from safety and security. Again, we've already discussed the plan. That was one of the highlights of the last several months, is getting that completed. The execution plan was also established, so we're working on moving that forward. Some of the things that we are definitely going to be focusing on is creating a comprehensive safety committee. Again, the plan itself transcends across every division within the agency, so we'll be moving that initiative forward beginning in January. What I did to continue what David was speaking about in terms of workers' comp claim, we both would have been diving down into the actual numbers, and since some of that does fall under safety, these are some of the things that we looked at. And in doing so, I was trying to establish a baseline to create an opportunity for performance indicators. As you can see, what our claims have been up to this point for 2020. The operators themselves had 16. We had 2 unknown, which means they could have come from the maintenance shops or passengers, and then 6 with PARATRANSIT. And again, to continue the conversation that David had presented, we looked at some of the numbers and we found some of the causation of the PARATRANSIT claims, and we're looking at retraining the PARATRANSIT drivers to prevent those preventable types of accidents, which can lead to these types of claims. Some of the other things we're looking at in terms of our 2021 goals is reestablishing safety committees, as I mentioned, reinforcing training to reduce the preventable accidents. And one of the initiatives that we're definitely going to be championing is human trafficking campaign. We're going to be working with the police department. The FTA also has a tremendous program going on with that. I actually participated in a webinar last week, and they're very big on publicizing the elements of human trafficking, and we're working with our communications division to put forth a campaign that should roll out the first quarter of next year. And one of the things that we're doing as a response to conducting safety and security assessments of our facilities is looking at installing automated external defibrillators in all facilities. Currently, we do not have any yet. We were also looking at seeing if there was a way to make them accessible for buses, but we just have to kind of work that end out yet. I know it's cost prohibitive, but we're still trying to find ways that we can introduce this life-saving technology in all of the modalities that we're currently operating. That said, CAT Safety Security Department is looking to score in 2021 by continuing to create a culture of safety and security through constant training and employment engagement. And that's my succinct report. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
Charles, were you guys able to find any of the posters that we were going to be ordering, or did they never get ordered?
We have not been able
to on human trafficking.
Right. I think the FTA has some new current posters coming out, and we may actually compose some of our customized one, as long as the verbiage and the wording is consistent with what the FTA is producing. We may look at that route as well. We've already begun those types of discussions. We just want to shore up everything once we start the partnerships with the law enforcement agencies.
Yeah, I know we GTA went over that last year at their meeting, and I thought we were going to order posters for PSAs on the buses themselves, and some signs for the bathrooms in particular, which I hadn't even thought about till I heard that presentation. And the second question is AEDs in all the buildings. Absolutely. I understand the problem with the buses at $2,000 or $2,500 a piece. We're looking at 2.5 million, I think, or something, if my math's right, to put them on everything. That may be grant opportunities down the road. I think the government has to start thinking about this especially on paratransit.
Yes.
Because compromised patients are the most likely ones to get in trouble. So I'm all for it. The more the merrier, but you know, money is tight and they're expensive.
Yes.
But the good part is no one has to be certified to use them. Anybody can read the instructions, put the pads on. So it's a very simple. And if it saves one life, it's worth every penny.
Yeah.
So thank you for your report again. You
All right.
had a full day today.
Yes, I have.
All right, are there any other questions for Mr. Hall? All right, thank you so much for that report, Mr. Hall. As you know, safety is very important. It's a primary focus of everything that we do to provide safe and efficient transit for all of Chatham County. So moving right along, we're going to go into our communications and marketing update by Ms. Nikki Frenney.
There she is.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Chairman Cody and board members. As you can tell from the marketing and communications report, board pack in department and member. A few highlights. And
Nikki, are you on a speakerphone? You're reverbing a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ms. Frenney, we can't hear you very well.
I know my speakerphone does that.
Is that better?
Okay, I think we lost her temporarily. While she's coming back, we'll move into our financial update. And then we'll try to circle back around to Ms. Frenney if she's able to reconnect.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and directors of the board.
Good morning.
The November 2020 financial overview is as follows. Our total revenues for the month ending November the 30th, 2020 are $4,680,242 and are $2,041,079 below the fiscal year 21 adopted budget. Total expenditures for the month are $1,978,418 and under budget by $318,238. Total revenues over expenditures, $2,696,071, adjusting for operating contingency. Year to date, our expenditures over revenues are $98,396 and are $2,266,000 less than budget for the year. Next slide, please. Our revenue by category. As we anticipated, our special district tax for this reporting period is 83.6% of total revenue. Our grant is 6.7 and paratransit 8.95. The remaining revenue categories are less than 2% of the total revenue for this reporting period. Next slide, please. Our expenses by category, our salaries and wages are 49% of expenses and our benefits are 20%. The remaining 31% of our expenses are our repairs, maintenance supplies, fuel, utilities, insurance, and services categories. Next slide. Our cash receipts during the month of November from our major source of revenue providers was special district taxes, $1,087,418, paratransit funds, $398,437, the City of Savannah per occupancy room rate fees collected in November was $93,926. However, we must point out that this was 2 months POR fees, the month of September and October. Our operating cash balance as of November the 30th, $2,717,714. Our next slide. This slide shows our actual cash received in this fiscal year for July through November and our projected cash for December 20th through June 30th, 2021. Our fiscal year 21 actual cash received has a blue line in the graph. These are closed periods with this fiscal year. As stated earlier, in the November ending cash balance of $2,717,000, which you can see on the graph above November, this projected month's cash is indicated by the orange, which is our actual, which, as you can see, we are anticipating our largest payout from special district transit taxes, as Ms. Malden spoke about earlier, in the month of December, which we're anticipating a higher balance of the $6,500,000 in the month of December. And with this balance, if we can remain on target throughout the remaining of the fiscal year, we would end up with the ending balance June 30th of $4,276,985. This concludes the financial report. Are there any questions, please?
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Looking at the balance, obviously in December, we're anticipating tax collections.
Yes,
So after we go through, and I saw what your projection is going forward, after we, the CARES money, the tax money, I'm a little concerned in looking at the pie shape of our expenses as to how we're going to go forward without dipping into reserves. We've worked very hard to get these reserves.
Okay. Well, first, I know that we began collecting fares in the month of December. I know that we are not collecting fares to the magnitude that we were pre-COVID, but we are hoping that we will continue, or there will be an increase in the fare box that we're now collecting, where we haven't received any in the month of December, that will offset the budgeted expenses that we will incur. Also, we are looking every day for, and Ms. Malden can correct me if I'm going off track here, we are looking for other assistance from FTA and grant funding.
That is correct, Ms. Royal. And the other thing I want to add to that is one of the new things that we've instituted, and we probably should have shined a light on this, is every month we have what is called a variance meeting. And in that meeting, our senior accountant, Ms. Janice Ambrose, actually has a meeting with all of the divisional and department heads and goes over their departmental budget. So there's a heavier emphasis on making sure that each department is spending within its allocated budget. And so we do that on a monthly basis. And then I have one big meeting where I go over all of them. So if there are any departments that are trending above budget or not trending well at all, I'm fully made aware of those, and we're tracking those, and we're getting all those back in line. So it's really just a management process. And really, as long as we're able to adhere to that, I think we will be fine. I think the next 30 days or so will really tell our clear COVID financial position, especially if we're able to get the additional funding from FTA and from Congress through the CARES Act. But either way, whether we get $0 or whether we get $10 million more, it's important. We know that it's important that we continue to track our expenses and that we keep a close eye on that to make sure that we're being good stewards of the money that we've been entrusted with.
Well, I understand that. I mean, it just, a lot of this is based on, hopes that we're going to get money. And I'm concerned about the ridership. And, if ridership was still down when it was free, what impact is this going to have when we start charging again? So, I just want the solvency of the organization to stay intact. And I'm concerned looking at these numbers.
I understand. And I mean, transit systems all across the country are facing the same thing. And
well,
so we are.
I understand, but our administrative costs are pretty strong, are pretty high. So I'm especially on the upper end. So I'm concerned, are we going to be able to sustain this and keep providing the service that we're obligated to provide?
We will still be able to provide the service that we're obligated to provide. And again, we are monitoring our expenses on a monthly basis, and we will continue to provide service, the service that we are obligated to provide. We will definitely continue to do that. And also, in one of the ways that we're managing those expenses, as our operations folks have talked about, we're beginning to look at all of our routes, just like the board made the decision to cut the 100X route. We're going to be looking at the routes. We're going to be putting the right amount of service in the right places to make sure that we're not spending millions of dollars operating empty buses as well. And so there are a lot of things that factor into all of that. And we're going to be looking at everything because it is very important. This is a service that many people care about and need throughout this county. And so we are committed to managing every dollar, every dime to make sure that we're able to do just that. Yes, sir, Dr. O'Halloran.
Yeah, I have a quick question. I was looking over the financials and I know we had a slight increase in overall cost for wages and benefits, but looking at the variance on benefits for general and administrative, we missed that by 102,000. Instead of, they budgeted 255 and we've actually spent 357,000 this month.
I think that actually,
what's the increase due to? I'm a little confused by that. That's a big jump.
That is year to date. That is year to date, and we can definitely send you the information per month.
Now this is under, well, it says, yeah, okay.
That's year to date. Yes, sir.
Yeah, but why, how did we miss that so badly? Are we required to pay something additional, or is that, did that include COVID pay, or I'm just wondering where that jump came from?
I'm not sure of the exact breakdown of that number, but we'll be happy to find that out and bring that back to you.
Okay, yeah, that's one that looked just, I mean, it's a, we missed by like 40%, which is a bad budget, and our budget is higher in almost every other category, but that one stood out as a real negative.
Okay.
And I know there's probably a reason, something may have been moved in and changed. I don't know where it came from, but there definitely is been an increase. We went up from like 62 to 69%, but things happen, and I don't know what's in that full line item budget because it doesn't break down other than a one-liner. So yeah, why we got that, I'd love to know.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll break that down and get that back to you. I apologize for not having the answer right this minute.
Believe me, I just saw it this minute while I was sitting here. And I looked at this yesterday. So when you mentioned variance, that's where I started to look. I said, oh, there's a big one. But thanks.
Where are you looking?
Did you say the 100X is still running? Is that what the?
No, ma'am. The 100X, the board voted to discontinue the 100X back, I believe, in October. And so starting November 1st, we discontinued it.
Okay.
Director Emerson, you had something?
I'm good. Never mind. Thank you.
All right. If there are no additional questions, I'm going to try to see if Ms. Frenny, was she able to join us again?
I am here. Are you able to hear me better?
Yes, much better.
Okay, I was using the cat phone and it wasn't working, and my cat computer is on the brink. So I will try to do this as best I can here. I'm also going to ask Eric Curl to share his screen. I'm not able to share my screen in a few. But again, I wanted to say good morning to Chairman Cody and the board members. As well as you all can tell from the marketing and communications report in your board packet, we had a very busy month in the department. I'll make a few highlights and then I'll be happy to take any questions that any of you all may have. We did a Thanksgiving employee engagement campaign where we basically launched a "What Are You Thankful For" campaign, and we asked employees to write on a provided note what they were thankful for. And we got a lot of participation and a lot of really good feedback. Some of those cards are hanging around the building just to promote Thanksgiving, just to promote engagement amongst each other. And we were really, really happy with the success, or with the engagement, and with the number of people who participated in that campaign. Thank you, Tandra, for administering that campaign. It was great. We are also working with operations on the paratransit online reservations. My background, I've done a lot of work in paratransit. And so one of the things that we want to do is create an easy how to use guide for our paratransit riders to show them how to book their online reservations. We will hand that out on the vehicles, as well as mail them out to our registered paratransit riders. We also resumed online ticket sales as a result of the safety barriers being installed on the vehicles. This is going really well. Ultimately, we hope to move the majority of our riders to online ticket sales. It just makes it so much easier on our front desk, as well as on our drivers. Also, we have relaunched CAT TV. This will be a monthly update, and along with several other videos featuring profiles of employees, of drivers, celebrating employee milestones, providing CAT updates, and other interesting topics. We'll play these videos not only on YouTube and our social media, but also in-house in different monitors that we have throughout the office, as well as hopefully we'll be able to get those platform monitors that we have at the ITC back working again through our partnership with Clever Devices, who we're all looking forward to them getting on boarding and helping us elevate the technology here. We've also updated the photo and video library that we've had. We had some really old, kind of outdated videos and photos. And so I wanted to make sure we updated those so that our marketing collateral would be updated and refreshed. We have some awesome drone footage of our ferries in action, of our buses on the road, some great aerial photos of ITC and video footage of the ITC and of CAT Central. And again, that new Clever Devices partnership is really going to help us elevate our technology, elevate the type of video and photos that we're putting out to our riders. CAT in the news, we had a very busy month. We had 17 television news stories, and we had 7 print news stories. Eric, if you are able to share your screen, I'd really like to share the first 30 seconds or so of our CAT TV update that's produced by Trish, as well as Valerie Ragland in our department. So Eric, if you could share that, I think it's the next slide. I don't know why Zoom doesn't want to play the volume on the videos for us.
You all not hearing that?
No.
You might need to change your mic settings, Eric, but I'm still not sure if that would work. But I would keep playing it at least for a minute. It still looks very cool.
Yeah, go for it, Eric.
Oh.
Still not hearing it?
Well, now we're not seeing it.
But it's not moving.
I can already tell. I can hear the audio clearly. The lighting looks great. The images are clear and it looks dynamic. I mean, I do care what the content actually is, but it looks very cool.
It's a really good video. Maybe what we'll do is upload it to YouTube and give you all, email you all a link where you guys
just send it over.
Yeah, that would be great.
It's actually a really, really good video. And we're planning on doing these at least bi-monthly, but we also have snippets of interviews with different employees throughout the organization that will also be playing on our social media and throughout the office. I just feel like when people see themselves on video and we can hear about their experience, they can share their experience in terms of what they do on their job and how their job makes all of our jobs easier. I just think it's more engaging, and we will get a lot more participation as time moves forward. But people are excited. We are getting a whole lot of feedback from employees about being a part of it. So I'm really excited about that. And to conclude, I just want to say I'm very proud of the marketing and communications team and all the hard work and enthusiasm over the last few months of working with me that they've provided. They've been nothing but professional, supportive, and a wealth of great marketing ideas. I've gotten nothing but amazing feedback from others in the organization about how awesome the team is. So I just wanted to personally thank Valerie Ragland, Eric Curl, Tondra Scott, Sarah Feldman, and Michael Connolly for everything you guys do to represent the CAT brand. And I'm looking forward to an exciting 2021. Thank you. And if anyone has any questions, I am available to answer them.
Yeah, are these being streamed on our screens over at CAT headquarters, that triple screen thing?
Not yet.
Okay, I'd love to see it there because I don't think people are looking at those time schedules.
No, that's it. That you're absolutely right, Director O'Halloran, and that is our plan. Right now, we are just trying. There are several different screens around the office. There's one in maintenance. There's a driver's break room. They're out in the lobby, and each one of them, interestingly enough, are controlled by somebody different. So we're just trying to make sure they're all controlled, and each one of them use a different technology. So we're trying to make sure that we get it to a point where they're all, where marketing and communications kind of uploads and controls them all, and that they're all using the same technology. That's one of the reasons I'm excited that Clever Devices is coming on. I've worked with them before in previous organizations, and they're really good at helping us do that. We'll also be updating the screens or the monitors that are out in the ITC in the Bay Area that has stickers on them now. So we're working on getting those too, so we can also do man on the street interviews with some of our riders and post those out there as well. So
that's great stuff. I know everything in all the places was added, one here, one there, and everything got controlled separately. It's like having a TV remote in every room.
Right.
What does Clever Devices do? What are they about?
They are a technology company. They can do all kind of reports. They help us. They will help us with like the reports Lenny was talking about, the employees on time performance, on tracking vehicles, tracking ridership. They can help us streamline our technology. There's a lot of different things that they do that is really going to elevate the reports and the technology that we're able to provide as an organization.
Got it. Thank you, Nikki.
You're welcome.
Greg Odell.
So is that a contract that's been brought to the board?
Yes, I believe Clever Devices was brought on before I even started working with CAT. That was in the procurement, I believe.
I can take that, Commissioner Odell. That's actually the grant application. That was put in place actually before I came on board officially. That's
Clever Devices. I don't want to interrupt, but Clever Devices is the ITS system that we purchased.
Yes.
Okay.
And actually, while I have the microphone, Mr. Chair, if I may, Commissioner Odell, I need to make a correction to something that I said. I've gotten a word from the team that the 100X was slated to stop on November 1st, but when we delayed the all of the changes we were doing November 1st, in order for our operators to not have to do a whole nother pick again, we just held everything the way that it was. And then once a final determination is made after the hiatus where we're working with the restaurateurs, the tourism and all of that, at that point, when those changes are implemented, excuse me, that's when the 100X service will be suspended. So I apologize. I just wanted to make sure that I corrected that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I have a quick question while I see Mike over there. Can you give us an update on what the legislative schedule is going to be, when they're going to start, and when Savannah Day may roll around, if and when it does?
I will be glad to. The legislative session constitutionally will begin on the second Monday in January, which will be January the 11th. The Speaker has appointed a committee, including the Majority Leader, a couple of other of his leadership team and staff members, to determine exactly what the profile of the session is going to be at the outset. There are rumors on the street that the session, excuse me, will obviously begin on January the 11th. It appears that they may stay in for that week, which would be standard operating procedure, in order to hold the sessions that they would need to elect leadership teams for both sides, appoint committees, assign offices, etc. But then normally they recess for MLK week, during which time they hold budget appropriations committee meetings and come back in. We are hearing that there is some discussion that they may stay out in recess for a protracted period of time, perhaps as long as April, in order to give everybody a time to let the vaccinations roll through the much broader community. And so that is the somewhat expectation that we have moving forward at this time. Of course, all of that is subject to change.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm
Thank you
guessing
for that.
Savannah Day is out.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did not answer that.
That's all right. I'm assuming with all the precautions, we're not going to meet up there again.
Right. So as it stands right now, and I will give the caveat, this is in the control of the Savannah Chamber of Commerce. But the last discussions that I was privy to were that 99% certain that Savannah Day will not be held in its normal design. There is some discussion about taking up various groups of leadership from the community to hold meetings with the governor, lieutenant governor, legislative leadership, perhaps at several times during the session, and potentially having very small dinners for those individuals to discuss moving the community's legislative agenda forward. But at this point in time, nothing is in concrete on what those plans are going to be, other than the fact that it appears that there will not be not only no Savannah Day, but most likely no other large gatherings of community groups during at least the early part of the session, as we understand it at this moment.
Hey, and Mike, if I can piggyback, this is Jay. If I can piggyback, I did receive some correspondence, Michael Holleran, that they're possibly moving those dates further into the year. So they're saying that they may even, and like Mike Becker said, they're going to do some of those canvassing where they bring people from here to Atlanta, but they're also talking about moving Savannah Chatham Day and other events tied to the chamber later into the year. And we got that from the Leadership Savannah memo last week.
Oh, good. Yeah, because if they're going suspending until April, then there's going to be some vaccination stuff done. So that's good. And I know I've been up there on Advocacy Day, and there's tens of thousands of people patrolling around there. And I guess that's not going to be possible.
Well, Mike, since you spoke on vaccination, they're actually talking about possibly with crowd gathering, you have to show a card showing that you've been
vaccinated. Yeah.
So that's some same protocols they're trying to put out there.
Constitutionally, from a time schedule, the drop dead date, so to speak, is June the 30th. So if you backtrack from that,
40 days,
in order to get the necessary days in, really May 1st would be when they would need to be targeted to actually go back into session to complete not only the supplemental budget, which at that point would probably be a moot point, but to adopt a budget for the upcoming fiscal year 21-22. Obviously, all of this is up in the air. And yes, once we have an idea of what the better schedule would be, then I think a lot of these events will begin to fall into place, and then we can do the appropriate planning for participating in a significant manner in these issues. To Dr. O'Halloran's point, during the last 10 days of the session, it was extremely difficult to effectively work at the Capitol because there was no access to members on the floor. If you didn't have their cell phone numbers or the ability to get to them by text, you basically had to capture them in the hall as they were moving from place to place. On the third floor, you could not move from one side, the House side, to the Senate side. You either had to go down to the first or second floor or the fourth floor to access the third floor because there was no elevator access. So if that is the case, it is going to be a very interesting and very challenging session.
I agree with you, Mike. So with that being said, I would encourage Dr. O'Halloran, Dietrich, Cody, and Ms. Malden, y'all to get together with Mike. I think that y'all need to be very proactive as far as putting the plan together to make sure you're interacting with these people as much as possible. Because I do echo your sentiments that it's very hard to get in contact with those guys and face to face. So we need to make sure we're stressing Zooms and everything we can to make sure that those narratives, I think we had about 2 or 3 things placed on the agenda to make sure those items make it to our state reps and make sure they get through there. So Mike, I appreciate your efforts, but if we can make sure that we're doing what we can to have camera time or whatever kind of time we can get with these guys to push those agenda items through, that'd be much appreciated. Thank you, Mike.
I think that is a very valid comment, and my plan already is to engage Ms. Malden as much as possible and the board members as much as possible in this effort, to the point of bringing folks up to Atlanta when we can. Even during the last 10 days of the session last year, we were successful in putting on a small delegation dinner, which was very well attended and very productive for us. So the interaction does not stop. It just is done in a different manner, and those moments that you have to spend with those individuals become golden and critical to moving our agenda forward.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mr. Vacker, for that update.
Thank you very much.
One other, just in closing of the executive director's report, there's one more update that I neglected to share during the COVID update, is that we are in contact with transit agencies across the state about priority status as far as vaccination for COVID. Transit, of course, the American Public Transit Association has advocated for transit workers to be in that second wave of essential workers. We have received information that says that we as an agency could potentially require these vaccinations. We are still trying to see where we stand legally with that. And we're getting a feel from the other agencies in the state. It is a state issue. So the state is going to have to ultimately determine where transit falls in the administering of the COVID vaccine. But I promise that I will continue to update you all. If I know, you all will know. But we are continuing to look at that, and we are taking that very seriously. I had more to say in closing, but because the hour has grown long, I just simply want to say thank you. Thank you to the members of the board for allowing me to serve in this role. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to serve the citizens of Chatham County. Thank you to the employees of Chatham Area Transit for all that they do each and every day. It's a thankless job many days, but today I want to say thank you because I really appreciate the employees. Thank you to the stakeholders that believe in Chatham Area Transit. Thank you to the stakeholders that provide the resources that we need to operate each and every day. And of course, thank you to the customers To all the people that use Chatham area transit each and every day, we would not be able to be where we are without the customers. It would be a moot point. There would be no reason for us to be here. So of course, during this holiday season, even though it's a different kind of holiday season, you know, it forces us to ponder and consider all that we're grateful for, the many gifts that we're given during our life. And so we just want to say happy holidays to all of the members of the board, to the members of the public and the community. And we appreciate everything that you all do to keep the buses running and the ferries. And remember that today and always, it is a great day to catch a cat. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman, and I will turn the agenda back over to you, sir.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions? All right, at that point, I want to thank you, Ms. Malden, and your staff for providing us with your updates. As always, it's great to hear from you all.
Thank you.
Mr. Evanston?
I was just saying thank you.
All right.
To
all right.
somebody.
At this time, we've added the executive session to the agenda for the matters of discussion under personnel litigation matters. Before calling for a motion in a second, I would like to make sure we got Ty. Ty, are you on the line?
I am, yes, sir.
All right. I would like to call for a motion and a second to enter into a closed session and to instruct the chairman to execute an affidavit for today's executive session.
I make the motion.
Second.
All right, Beverly. We'll call for a vote.
Yes, sir. Okay, Director Jones,
Yes.
Director Odell,
Yes.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Lakakis, Director Lakakis, Director Leggett,
Yes.
Director Emister,
Yes.
Director O'Halloran,
Yes, as long as we get a 5-minute break.
okay, and Chairman Cody.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed, Chairman Cody.
All right. So we're gonna go into a 5-minute breakout.
Let's keep it 5 minutes.
Yes, please try to keep it to 5 minutes. These meetings are getting longer and longer.
Appreciate it.
Ciao.
5 minutes it is.
It's called a 5-minute break.
Is anybody here? Hello? Eric?
Hello, Clinton.
Hey, can you?
Director Edminster. We are live on YouTube.
All right. Hi, YouTube. This is exciting. So, if you could have Beverly invite Miss Malden into the breakout room, that'd be great.
Okay.
All right.
Will do.
Thank you.
You need something? Oh.
Ignore my previous request for Bakar's audience, and we're all coming back.
Y'all there, Clint, you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I only called your name because I saw your face.
It's me.
And we are recording, so I guess we can get through the rest. I think we can go ahead, Dietrich.
Okay.
All right. Now that we're back in an open session, I would like to announce that there were no action or votes taken during the closed session. We will now move into old business. Do we have any of the members of staff that want to bring to the floor?
I'd like to nominate Helen Stone as vice chair.
New business.
That's on the new business, right?
That'll be on the new business.
Correct. Thank you.
So if
Yeah, I
not,
think the only thing that we should do is what we discussed in recommending that action be forwarded to Bakara to take care of.
yes. All right. All right, we're gonna move on into new business.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Moulton.
can you provide some clarity for me in terms of what Dr. O'Halloran was speaking of?
As soon as we get out of session today, I was gonna give you a call.
Okay.
Let you know our path.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? All right. Moving into new business. We have election of the vice chairman.
Chairman, Chairman, I'd like to make a recommendation that Clinton Edmondson serve as the vice chair.
Second that.
Cool.
Second. All right.
Tabitha's muted. Miss Tabitha's talking.
I nominated Helen Stone.
All right.
I'll second that.
Got a second.
So we got two people. We're nominating. I think Mr. Jones nominated Clinton and Ms. Odell nominated Ms. Stone. So we have two. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I move that we close the nominations.
All right.
Second.
Motion, second. Can we take a vote?
I see Beverly, but I.
Hello, yes, sir.
There she go.
Okay. So we have two motions on the floor at this time. And I'm sorry, Mr. Butler is trying to connect.
I think it's just the motion to close the nominations and then we can actually go forward with the vote.
All right.
Okay. And I'll stop that roll call for that. Thank you for that clarification. Director Jones?
I'm going with Clinton Edminster.
No, we're closing the nominations first.
I got somebody in the office. So why she call my name then?
You have to vote on closing nominations.
Yes, close it.
Okay. Director Jones, yes. Director Odell?
Yes.
Director Stone?
Ellen?
Yes.
Okay. Director Lakakis? Director Leggett?
Yes.
Director Emister,
Yes.
Director O'Halloran,
Yes.
Director Cody.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You didn't ask for my vote.
I'm sorry, did I skip over you? I'm sorry, Dr. Robinson?
Yes.
Okay.
I love those blue glasses. I guess we can do a roll call and we'll have to vote by name who we are selecting. Sorry, Cody, I keep jumping on you. I'm going to mute myself so I can shut up.
We good.
I think you're up, Beverly.
Okay, yes, sir. Director Jones?
Clinton Edminster.
Okay. Director Odell?
Helen Stone.
Director Stone?
I guess vote for myself.
Okay. Director Robinson?
Director Robinson.
Clinton Edminster.
Director Lakakis?
Clinton.
Director Lakakis? I'm sorry, we got Director Lakakis. Director Leggett?
Clinton Edminster.
Director Emister?
I'll vote for myself as well. Thanks, Beverly.
Director O'Halloran?
Helen.
Chairman Cody?
Helen.
Okay, the motion supports Clinton Emister. Director Emister.
Thanks, y'all.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Clinton.
It's a burden and a curse.
Congratulations.
It's a burden, a curse for you. It's a relief for me.
All right. Got that out the way. All right, now moving on. Moving on to new business, as presented earlier, we have 2 outgoing commissioners and members of the board that I credit and acknowledge their ongoing committed services with CAT. I know they hold this agency and the employees dear to their heart, as we know their leadership and engagement will be greatly missed. I personally thank Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Odell for showing me the right ways of going about being on this board. And I thank you for all the experience you've given me. So I want to thank everybody for showing out today.
Hey, Dietrich, one quick question.
Yes.
We approved the governance calendar, but it's blank on all the budget meetings. Do we know when we're going to see dates so that we can plan? Because we saw what kind of chaos we got when we tried to do something in 2 days. So maybe we can get some dates before our next round of regular committee meetings. Because we do need to decide on an amended budget at some point if we're going to do it, or we're going to already be into the next one.
All right. What I do is I got to get with Ms. Malden directly after the meeting, and I will ask her about this.
Thank you. And personally, thanks to Tabitha and Jay. We've had a fun run. I know we've never always agreed on everything, but at least we were able to stay friends during all of it. And I appreciate both of you a lot, and happy holidays to everyone else.
Thank you.
Well, we got one more meeting, so happy holidays to everybody else. I'll see y'all when we have that meeting. Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right. That being said.
You need a motion to adjourn?
Yes. We have a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Dietrich, you can adjourn us at will.
All right, with that being said, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
All right.
Bye.